good afternoon. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you listeners. It's me, your editor, Yusuf Taylor, for Askanwi Media. Yes, we had to come live today. Parliament had their first day today, the first ordinary session of 2025. It started today, but not as expected. And that's why we had to come online today to give you a live stream, latest update news, very, very important about what is happening in Parliament and the lack of budget implementation oversight. Please give me a sign. Let me know that we are live. I'm going to try to share this because we've prepared a script. We have prepared a script. And on this script, we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about how the budget is being implemented. And if National Assembly members are doing what they are supposed to do when it comes to budget implementation. So just checking that the sound is coming on fine. We are going to definitely share this so everybody can please follow. Please share because this is a very breaking and important news, which we believe. Very, very important news, which we need to bring to Gambians today about your budget and your taxpayers' money. What is Parliament doing about it? We've got a script. Let's just share. Please share to your followers, share to your page. Anybody who you know, share this so that we can start. We want to go into this topic. Very, very important topic, which we are going to share also at the African Parliamentary Press Group as well. We will send it to them because we're also in that network. We'll share it to the Gambia Parliamentary Network as well. We'll share it to there as well. Share it to as many people as you can so we can get started. Okay. Now, let's get to business. We've been following this for over a year now. We've been following this. The Gambian Parliament has failed to fulfill one of its most critical responsibilities, overseeing how the government spends your taxpayers' money. And despite approving the national budget, they've been doing this. Lawmakers have not received or demanded timely updates from the finance minister, leaving billions unaccounted for. Who is keeping track of public funds? And what does this mean for transparency and accountability? And we will talk about this. Over the past year, we have observed a significant lapse in parliamentary oversight of the Gambia's budget implementation. Some of you may be wondering, what is this guy talking about? What is budget oversight? What is budget implementation? What is it all about? The whole process starts with budget formulation, and then Parliament will receive a budget proposal from the executive, and they will make amendment, and then Parliament will approve. This is what you call the budget approval, all bunched in one, if you can hear. Of course, there are different stages in there. Then the next stage is budget implementation. Once you have now passed a budget, the government carries out the activities and they spend those allocated funds. Now, the finance minister is required to submit quarterly updates to Parliament. These updates is what enables Parliament to monitor how the government is executing the budget throughout the year. All right? Essentially, two key things are happening simultaneously. The budget is implemented while Parliament conducts oversight. These two things happen simultaneously. If oversight is conducted in real time, that's every month or so, every quarter, it's coming. It becomes easier to detect and prevent waste, fraud, and abuse. Yeah? Now, we have a report which we are going to, our first report, we have series of reports. And in that report, we talked about how National Assembly failed to uphold its budget oversight responsibilities last year. What report is that? Yes. In September 2024, we published an article highlighting that the finance minister failed to provide Parliament with a budget implementation update during the second ordinary session. And this was published in our article titled Parliament to Commence Third Ordinary Session of 2024. It didn't stop there. A similar failure occurred during the third ordinary session of 2024, last year. The finance minister once again neglected to provide an update on government expenditures when it came to the third quarter. We were following it. And when you go to the story which we have published, as the finance minister failed to table the 2025 budget estimate on time, you will see we have been raising these questions. Now, the fourth ordinary session. So we talk about the second ordinary session. The finance minister failed to provide an update. Nothing happened. How can journalists report about how the budget is being implemented? Nothing. National Assembly members too, they are just watching. What have they done about it? Nothing. This all culminated. The final session is usually the budget session. Now, by the end of 2024, Parliament was occupied with approving the 2025 budget. And as a result, little time was allocated for budget oversight. What does this tell us? Our National Assembly is more focused on approving government expenditures than scrutinizing how taxpayers' money is spent. It's one thing to approve that, yes, government, we approve this budget and scrutinize that. It's another thing to scrutinize how the budget is being implemented. And every quarterly, at least 3 months, Parliament should be doing this. This lack of oversight is further exacerbated by the Ministry of Finance failure to provide timely updates. Previously, this is used to happen. For example, let me give an example now. By early February last month, yes, reports detailing the government's budget execution up to December of the previous year, normally they would have been uploaded on the ministry's website. This, we used to go and we used to find this online and we used to report. Journalists, civil society, advocates, people interested in how the budget is being implemented used to use that. But let me tell you, unfortunately, this practice has ceased, creating a transparency vacuum. That's what we have right now. This is a big problem. The absence of timely budget reports means that citizens, civil society organizations, and academia lack the necessary data to assess government spending. This lack of transparency fosters an environment where waste, fraud, and abuse can flourish and thrive, which is a big disaster. That is a huge disaster. Now, we want to move on to another issue, which is the importance of high-quality information. The importance of high-quality information. This is very, very, very important. All right? The quality of information provided to the Parliament and the public is just as important as its timeliness. Parliament approves a budget that includes both government local funds and external funding. When we say external funding, updates that the minister is to give on how these funds are spent should be provided monthly, but this is not happening. You see? Now, another major failure of parliamentary oversight is its lack of scrutiny of projects funded by loans and grants. Because we have been observing that when the finance minister delivers quarterly budget implementation reports, he usually does this focusing only on GLF expenditures, with little to no data on externally funded projects. This severely compromises oversight. Now, I know some will say we have FPAC, they are doing their job. Yes, we have FPAC. FPAC is doing their job. But this job, this issue that we are raising and we are highlighting, we are saying that government is not every quarterly, every budget, every session, every parliamentary session, look at how budget is being implemented. That is not being done. That is even more important and even more serious. Because when that is being done, then you can stop things even from a quarterly basis. The next quarter, they will hear that, oh, this thing was raised in the previous quarter. This should not be done. How comes this fund was not spent? Or how comes this fund was spent here when it should have been spent there? So you trap it. But unfortunately, what we do, yes, FPAC is working. And I want this to be very clear. Nobody is saying that FPAC or PEC are not doing their job. Yes, they are doing their other jobs. But this job that I'm talking about, which is not done, is a critical job, and it's even more important. What does FPAC do? They will wait now. National Audit Office will write currently they are doing audit for 2020. How many years ago? They have their resolutions now. They will bring that and say now, go back to 2020. Where is the money? And to find the waste, fraud, and abuse in that one is now a challenge. But if you are doing it on a quarterly basis, scrutinizing the budget on a quarterly basis, then you will see how you will be able to real time, that's what we are talking about, real time, clamp down on waste, fraud, and abuse. We're going to continue. Now, where are we? Why have we raised this thing up today? The first ordinary session, last week or so, when we realized that it's coming and we had the agenda, we reported the ongoing lack of budget oversight begins with the finance minister failing to provide timely reports. A failure that is being tolerated by Parliament under the leadership of the Speaker, because it's the Speaker who is the leader of Parliament. All right? Last year, if you can all recall, the finance minister failed to table the 2025 budget on time. Parliament ultimately let him off the hook after the Speaker ruled on the matter. At the same time, throughout 2024, the finance minister did not once report to Parliament on how the government was implementing the budget. We are observing, we have been making noise, we have been engaging parliamentarians, but I don't think that they have seen this as a serious offense that it is. This is a very serious offense, and parliamentarians are failing Gambians. Together with the finance minister, I must put it together. They are all complicit in this. This is what I'm saying. All National Assembly, every single parliamentarian who has not raised this up, that why are you not bringing the budget implementation report as a parliamentarian, you have failed. Every single one of them, all 58 one of them. I'm not leaving out anybody. Every single one of them has failed, as long as they have not summoned the finance minister to bring the budget implementation. But how? How comes? It's not fair to Gambian taxpayers who are paying these monies. What we need in this country, I'm going to say it. Every month, as the month of February is finished, what is this expenditure of January? Go onto the IFMIS system. It's a system, automated. Pull out a report of expenditures. Publish it for the Gambians. Let that report include all funds. Let it include revenues. Let it include expenditures. GLF, loans and grants, all of it should be there. How are those being spent? How are loans raised in the Gambian people's name being spent? How are grants raised in our name being spent? We don't know. GLF, we don't know. We will continue. Now, what we must highlight in any well-functioning democracy, by now, the Speaker would have summoned the finance minister to provide an update as required by Parliament's schedule in their agenda. Just last week, we saw in the agenda that today, the finance minister should have been given this important budget implementation report, which I am here talking about non-stop. He didn't do it. Last year, we were watching to see whether by the end of the session, the finance minister would do it. Nothing. Finance minister last year, every single session, we were making this noise, raising this up. Nothing. This year we say we are not just going to write about this. We are going to come on live. We are going to, if we have to go on tour on all the other media houses, we will do it. The finance minister must bring the budget implementation in this ordinary session, and we will push for that. They must tell us how our taxpayers' monies are being spent. We're not going to sit here and accept that. Not at all. As can we? This is not that kind of a media. Let me continue. So this year, as we are saying, things must be different. This is a wake-up call to all citizens, National Assembly members, civil society organizations, and academics. We must demand accountability and transparency in how our taxpayers' money is spent. What are we calling for? Let's make that very, very clear. 1. The finance minister must provide Parliament with a timely and comprehensive report on budget implementation during every ordinary session. Every 3 months, how is our budget being spent? Is that too much to ask for? And National Assembly members, you are allowing this guy to just go out, the finance minister to just do as you please. Our second demand. Monthly budget execution reports must be published on the Ministry of Finance website for public access. Citizens, it is our money that is being used. Previously, Ministry of Finance was doing very well, and we were giving them a big clap to say thank you very much, Ministry of Finance. February starts, 1-2 weeks into February, we'll see how January expenditure was. Now, that one, disappeared. No longer. You go on their website, you cannot see anything. Nothing latest. Nothing that is current. Bring it back. The third demand, the reports which are being provided, they must include GLF, all funds. When we say all funds, loans and grants, how are they being spent? Because a lot of the project stuff, which are from loans and grants, many of the time they don't come. The finance minister will not include it in the report. What is the revenue that has been collected? That's another aspect that is always missing. They will tell us this, that is how we are spending the money. Where is the money coming from? Tell us. How are you spending it? Tell us. This needs to be brought. It needs to be brought there. Now, our final thoughts. The failure of the Gambia's parliament to conduct proper budget oversight is not just an administrative lapse. It is a direct threat to transparency, accountability, and the responsible use of public funds. Accountability in governance starts with an informed and engaged public, as you and I. If lawmakers do not demand timely updates on government spending, waste, fraud, and abuse will continue unchecked in this country. Corruption. Citizens, civil society organizations, and the media, it is you and I that must hold Parliament and the Finance Ministry accountable. How do you do this? We do it by raising awareness. We must pressure lawmakers, parliamentarians, and demand regular budget reports. We can ensure that taxpayer money is spent responsibly. This is the only way. Failure to do that means your money will be wasted. By the time you realize those people who have taken the money, they have long since gone. Audit reports. Many of the audits, we are currently looking at 2020 when we should be looking at 2024. Audit reports. That's what by now, 2023 minimum. We are still in 2020. We want to go and catch those people. Those people, they have gone, they have escaped. They have escaped. So that's why it's very, very important. Now, the fight for accountability is a collective effort. And it starts with us, you and I. Citizens, civil society organizations. It starts with academia. Let me tell you, those of you in business, it starts with everybody, because you know what? It's your taxpayers' money. If you think that you are not paying money or it's not your money, when you go and you pay anything that you pay, don't you know that they remove from their tariffs? Tariffs will go, and that will is what is being used to fund the government. Everywhere you go, you pay pass, transportation. They charge tariffs on fuel. Yes, the government has its amount that it takes there. So your money is going indirectly. You buy anything, VAT. So this is why the time for silence is over. It's time to demand transparency and responsible governance. It is high time that we demand transparency and responsible governance. So I really thought today we're going to come here and we are not going to just write another article. Before we write the article, we are going to have a talk for you to know what is going on in this country. It's not something that we can continue living with. This thing has to change. The demands are clear. Government, Ministry of Finance, do your job. Provide budget implementation. Enough about writing about it. Now we are going to advocacy for this. That's the kind of journalism we have. Thank you very much, anybody, for listening. I don't know if we've got any comments. Pass my phone, let me see. If there's anybody who is raising any comments. With topics like this, sometimes people just want to listen and just want to learn and just want to see what is being said. But I'm urging all of us to be as involved as possible, and for us to really realize that we are the ones who have to make this thing a reality. If we say we want budget transparency, if we say we want our funds to be spent properly, the only way for us to do that is for us to actually work together, is for us to demand that parliamentarians make sure that they scrutinize the budget. This is the only way. So please, everybody, just share. We're going to end the stream right now. And thank you, everybody who has tuned in and who has listened.